What up, what up, what up? What up, everybody? This is Dario Hunt from Live Life Fearless, and we're back with another podcast of The Fearless Show. And today's date is October 6, 2017. With me, as always, is Mr. Darius Walker. Say what up to everybody.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy, artist Darius Walker. Thank you for coming. This is The Fearless Show.
Yep. So, just hop right into it. You know, we got a number of things to talk about. We don't have like one big main topic, just a bunch of little smaller ones.
Yeah, nothing huge, but definitely got stuff to chop up.
Let's just start talking about Hugh Hefner.
Oh,
The
that's an
legendary
interesting...
Hugh Hefner has passed away in 91.
Hugh Hefner's gone. The original Playboy.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know what to say about that. I'm kind of like, the Grotto's dead forever now. Like, Hugh Hefner died and the Grotto died too. Like,
I think it's kind of been dead for a while. Like his whole mystique of the Playboy has kind of been gone for like a long time, you know?
yeah. But I mean, he still had his same atmosphere, regardless of how the business was doing.
Yeah, he was bigger than Playboy, I think, itself. And he became
Right.
like such an icon. Now,
Yeah, it was crazy.
now that he's gone, people are like arguing about his legacy. Like, was it
Yeah.
a good thing or was it like a bad thing? Like, you know, especially
Right.
for in terms of like women's I won't say rights, but like in terms of like the whole women movement and everything. You know, a lot of
Yeah,
people are
it was
arguing whether he's good or
right
bad.
about
for that.
representation in media and like, you know, being like his whole, and just not just representation, but like his personal relationships, like their descriptions and like words, you know, like they seem abusive and like very very over controlling and like very interestingly contractual, like beyond like prenup, because there's like no marriage, so it's like a job to be his wife almost. It's kind of weird, but like regardless of all of that, even though it is a little bit creepy, he did change the whole game on a certain industry, and it became an interesting, weird party place for like a lot of like all the celebrities went there. So like, I want to hear more people talk about it. Honestly, like I want to hear the bunnies themselves, the retired ones, like have their moment of this is what really happened. You know, like
Yeah.
cause
Um
that's what. Yeah, I don't want to hear the speculations.
yeah, I'm sure you'll start hearing like a lot more stories that you haven't heard yet about him. Now that he passed away, like you just see people coming out of everywhere talking about, you know, his denigration of women, sexist legacy, and stuff like that. And like, I'm just wondering, like, what do you feel his legacy is on that side? Do you think he left a sexist legacy of denigrating women, or do you think it was on the opposite side? It was like more empowering for women.
I couldn't say personally. I would have to ask. I would have to ask a lot of women that question. Like, to be, like I said before, I want to know from the women that worked like with the Playboy, like not just got the cover and got paid, you know, but like actually were on the grounds and like, you know, maybe they weren't the three main ones that he has, but you're the other ones that still live there kind of thing. I want to know those stories. They used to have something on like HBO or something like that back in the day. I remember a little bit, but he was like involved obviously. So it wasn't like them telling too much, but like I really want to know, like, cause now it's like the person, I don't know, like, I want to know, there's so many questions. It's like, who runs his estate? Like, what did the will say? Like, who's controlling, his empire? And then just other shit like that.
What do you think? Like his legacy of all the Playboys, like was more on the side of like exploiting these women or for these women? I guess
Well,
that's what the main question is because that's the argument that like you see popping up now
right.
that he has passed away.
Well, my thing is, I would say it was more in its origination, not so much exploiting them. It would be a little bit more on the other side of of promoting them in a way that wasn't like the other spaces. Like he basically dialed down the smut on print magazines and added more stories for people to read. So he changed the way those types of magazines, like he changed it and catered to a certain audience. That's why he came with that like mansion swag, like, because he's like, people like that, we assume they read, it's not like, like they're not uneducated. It's already assumed. So like that kind of style was what he was going with. So like, I think at the time when he created it, I think that it was a help in that industry for women who wanted to be in that light, that it was a better option than any other avenue.
Yeah.
But its
I have to think about it.
evolution though is not the same. So that's why I'm like, in its origination there's one thing, but like after it got to a certain point, it was kind of, it was wild. It's still wild right now to think about it. Like, but there's so many other things. Like that was the thing. Hugh Hefner teetered the line. He stayed in between, like right in the middle, because he didn't do hardcore porn. Like there's no like penetration photographs, like stuff like that. Like I mean, maybe
It's
with like
softcore.
like a solo like thing, but like and then like those weird videos they made like back in the 90s and shit, because they had like all the like cover girls would do like these videos that video vixens do now for like what is that shit? Whatever. Video vixens make videos now, like Erica Mena and all them shits, and those videos look just like the fucking Hugh Hefner softcore Playboy videos. It's like
Yeah.
so he basically like pioneered the video girl.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, I think it's like his legacy I think is very complicated.
It's just awkward. Like yeah.
It kind of depends on what era we're talking about. Like when it first came out in the 60s, it was 60s, I think it was
Yeah.
60s. For sure, I think like then it was more about sexual liberation and like not being afraid to like talk about those
Right.
things and to be like, exposed and whatnot. And of course, he was exploiting these women to the point where, to help sell magazines. But I
Yeah.
think it was also, kind of a mutual thing where it was like, hey, like you shouldn't be so afraid of talking about this stuff, like, because it was a much more repressive culture back then, so especially for women and speaking about their sexuality and stuff like that, like,
Right.
like they don't have their own. So it was a little bit of both. And I think it was more like started out like, especially more like good intentions, especially when he first came out, because they really did have like good articles. Like as the joke is now that I read Playboy
Right.
articles, but like when it first came out, like it really did have like top notch fucking writing and like top notch articles. Like they even had like interviews and shit with like Martin Luther King and stuff like that. Like
Yeah, like the
investigative
interviews, I
pieces.
couldn't believe they had real interviews in Playboy. I was like, you have so many, like the most important people in the country interview in your smut magazine. Like that's dope. That's ridiculous. How do you even what? And they were cool
Yeah.
with that, like, cause you're Hugh Hefner. Like he did something that, like, I don't know. Like it's so weird.
He's definitely an icon. He's definitely like, a pioneer, especially in media for like that type of stuff. And and like early on, he definitely was like an advocate for like free speech and civil rights and sexual liberation. Like even like his clubs and stuff. Like you know, he hired like black comics and stuff as clubs when times when like clubs were basically segregated and stuff like that. Like so, like I'm not fully on the side of people like just trying to tear down his whole legacy. Like he was just some smut peddler and like
Right.
just exploiting women because that's not how it started, and I don't think that's accurate. But I think as time went on and like you know, Playboy didn't launch, but like basically inspired the launch of like all these other publications like Hustler and like Penthouse, which were like super hardcore and like basically skipped all the other cultural aspects of like his publication and his clubs and stuff, and just went straight for like the.
They did whatever he wasn't doing. They're like, oh well, they didn't want to do that. We'll give it to you.
They went straight for the like just for the voyeurism, basically.
Yeah.
And, like, they skipped all the other shit. Like while he was still trying to hold on to that, but like like people stopped reading magazines, so like articles diminished, and like it became like like this celebrity wants to get on, so like I'm gonna do a Playboy cover, so like that's gonna give you exposure, blah blah blah, like So I think like over time it definitely changed less on like the cultural side of things and more just like the pop culture side of things, like the celebrity side. I
mean,
the
cover
like
was still a thing, honestly, for a while.
It's always been a thing. It's just like how it was used was more so just for like celebrity and like
but that's how you got. That's how the physical. It made the physical copy important because the centerfold thing was a thing because that was like the physical like 2-page poster basically. So like when you got a physical copy, that they were like a poster in it almost, So that's
and I think like people also got to remember like the time period that he was like born in and stuff. Like it was very male centered, and like he was
he came from like he's a white man that gave other white men, like there was it was all blondes. It was like, what's your fantasy? Oh, those pinups. I'll have those pinups in a better pose in my magazine. I'll check. It's like he came up with some shit, and I was like, that's kind of gross, but like at the same time, not gross because it was done well. Like it's weird. It's like art. It was like artistically done, but then it got weird later. I feel like the end of the last like decade and a half was like, I feel like that should have been a wrap. We shouldn't even have like heard anything about him anymore. Like he should have like passed the reins down and then just been like, I'm retired. So then like people stop talking about him.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely changed over the years, like his impact and like his purpose and like the whole magazine's purpose. But I think like this whole conversation of like people painting in like these extremely black and white images where it's like he either was like a liberator or like just a straight up exploiter. It's like it's just the news and the media is like super annoying way of trying to create conversation by creating like controversial conversation instead of actually creating like real conversation about what actually was happening and like what his legacy actually was, you know? And it's just like it's always really interesting to see when people like. I mean, he
boosted a lot of like, people's careers. Honestly, like why would Kim Kardashian do the Playboy cover?
He created careers.
If it wasn't gonna help her career, like she did that shit because she needed to do it, and like not just because that was just part of her branding. Like sex was part of the brand at the beginning, and she's maintained it in a way that like she transitioned into fashion, and that's dope. And then like her little sister's got her makeup line is going crazy, but
I mean you gotta remember like when he came out, like nobody was doing that. Nobody was showing stuff like that. Like that was so
I think his lock was
like,
just the celebrities.
I think it was very much liberation at that time. But like now that like people have become so accustomed to seeing that type of stuff, it's like now it's just another thing out there.
Right.
Like seeing,
you don't have to go to the source. Like you don't have to go to like a place like Playboy because the artists or the people themselves are just gonna do it anyway. In some place or some form. Like.
Yeah, I just think it's super weird and funny to like see these news slash media, organizations like try to paint these such black and white pictures of like his entire like what 60, 70-year legacy, like stuff like that. Like, it's just crazy.
It's
like,
really awkward because it's like
there's
all
so
right,
much
he's
gray
dead,
area.
so
there.
now we can talk. Like now, let's really
like
talk about what
season.
we really think about him. Like
season.
now that he's dead and can't say anything or
woodworks.
do anything about it, let's really put in print what we think about him.
Yeah,
that's messed up.
Yeah, it's crazy. So it's like always interesting to see like that response when you see like an icon and so like a legend like that like pass away, and see like how different people cover their life and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I don't know. It was just really interesting to me. But like I think regardless of how you feel about him, it's hard to argue that he wasn't like a big cultural icon and like a big part of like our culture's shift and change for good or bad, But it was like a massive thing. It was such a massive thing.
It shifted the culture. I mean, without it, I don't know. Things would be different. It's just he did what he did. It's like world recognized.
Yeah, and speaking about things being painted black and white, we have to talk about a little bit the recent events in Vegas.
Vegas. Yeah, we have to mention it. I forgot. We haven't. So I don't know if you want to tell the people what happened.
I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody knows by now. A guy opened up on a country festival from his 32nd floor balcony. I don't even know his balcony, just 32nd floor window.
Hotel window.
With a semi-automatic rifle.
Fully automatic.
Opened fully. Nah, it wasn't fully. It was semi.
Yeah, but any semi you can transition though. You can buy a semi-automatic gun and make it automatic.
They're saying he had a bump stock on there, which you can kind of imitate a fully automatic
if he had
fire.
it, imagine if he had it locked. Like if he shot a lot at the range, there's a way to hold the gun down to where the aim stays stagnant.
He killed like 59 people, injured over 400, either as a result of direct gunfire or people trying to get out of that situation. So like the deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history, which is kind of becoming a cliche
in
at this
U.S.
point.
history. And how many times have we heard that in the last 5 years?
Because every year there
in the
seems
last
to be
5
a
years,
new
how
one.
many times we heard the deadliest?
There was Orlando, and then there was San Bernardino, and then there was the Sandy Hook, and then Columbine. So like it's a sad joke that keeps repeating itself, and I don't know if like if you read The Onion, or if you see their posts.
The Onion it's almost painful because it's like so good.
But they've released the same article for the last 5 mass shootings.
Really?
And
I never noticed that.
They only changed the name of like the city and like the details, but it's the exact same verbatim article about mass shootings in America.
Oh wow. That's crazy.
And it's like a sad joke because it's like damn, like it's the truth, but it's like, oh, this is sad that like you don't even have to change anything because it's like the exact same story once again. And nothing is fucking changed.
But that's how I feel. Like as an artist though, that's what I do with my art. Like as like a lot of my stuff, like I made a painting. Actually, part of the quote that's in the Times is me saying, I made a work about Nicholas Hayward Jr., who was a kid who was killed by a police officer in his apartment complex when he was playing with a toy gun. And this was in like 96 or something like that. It was in the 90s. But I was referencing that, and then Tamir Rice happened, and everyone called it the Tamir Rice painting. But I made that painting before it happened. So it was like that's how I felt about it. Was like the situations like that when like it just it's like you don't have to, it's exactly the same. Like it feels like with more, there's more casualties, but the
Yeah, the details change, but like it's the story's the same. Like the article they run, the title is the exact same every time. The title is, it says nowhere to prevent this, says only nation where this regularly happens. And it's like, yeah, it's funny because it's fucking true, but
it's
like,
just random people
like taking a jab
it's not
at
even
them,
the
but it's
same
like
age bracket or the same, like, it's everybody's, like, it's, I don't even get it. Like, I live here in the States. I don't know. It's all over. I'm from Colorado. And what's crazy is when I came to New York, a few people, when I would go to like a bodega or corner store, they'd be like, "Oh, you're from Colorado?" I was like, "Oh, that's crazy out there. There's a lot of like shooters, right?" Like, I was like, "What?"
I mean,
that was like,
we do have two of like the worst ones, but
there was that Planned Parenthood shooting.
But every place is vulnerable. Like, let's be honest, and like, I'm not gonna get into this full on debate because this can be like a full on episode about gun control and whatnot. Right. But like, at this point, if I feel like if Sandy Hook wasn't enough to like make people want to do something about what the fuck is going on, then I just don't think it's ever going to happen. At least no time soon. And there's just going to be a lot more of these because the news and the media are just going to cover this for the next 3 months, go into every painstaking detail of this guy, and like his name is going to be infamous at this point. And if people want to be, they want to be infamous. Right. So like it's just going to repeat itself once again, and the Onion is going to run the same article once again.
That's great. Once again.
But I don't want to go too deep into it because that's like a full-on episode talking about that shit. It's just really sad. Just shout out to everybody who was in that situation, who lost people, and like our thoughts and prayers are with you. And like it was just crazy to me because I actually did know a lot of people who were actually at that exact festival and event when it was happening.
That's crazy.
So that thinking that it'll never be me is like you don't really fucking know, especially in this country. So, but on lighter news, it is a certified smash hit. Certified, the largest opening weekend for any horror movie ever.
Oh shit.
And they've already announced the sequel for it coming in 2019.
Oh, that's right, yeah. And if you don't know what we're talking about, I'm sure you do know what we're talking about. Just think about it. There's only one horror movie that anyone's talking about right now.
So yeah, it's getting its sequel. It's be part 2. Which is dope. This is a light spoiler, but not a big one. It's gonna be when they're older, when they're adults. If you haven't seen the original miniseries by now, or don't know the story, then it's been out for like fucking 30 years. So yeah, they come back as adults in the sequel. So
yeah. And it's nice the way it's split up, like the way they do it.
I told you, didn't I tell you? I said they're setting it up as a 2-parter.
You did say that. You did. And I was just skeptical on how they would handle it but okay, they did it right. Like I just wasn't sure because I don't know. The Dark Tower wasn't quite what I expected.
I haven't seen The Dark Tower yet. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
And your thoughts?
On The Dark Tower?
Yeah.
It's a dope movie, but it's not what I expected from the Dark Tower series. For people who are avid book reader fans of
But it's not based on the books, though.
I know, but I'm just I have to give them a warning if they haven't seen it to not go in hoping that you're gonna see a visual form of your favorite series. Like, it's not gonna be that. What it will be, though, is a very clever, I guess, adaptation of the Dark Tower universe. A partial. It's just like a snippet of the Dark Tower universe presented with great action. So it's like,
yeah,
really,
it's more about the universe than the actual story.
Yeah, exactly. So you get lost because the story that everybody cares about isn't there. But there's it's good, but it's not great. Sorry, I just it's not. It should have been like a 5-parter. They should have did some shit. Like, we got episodes, we got Netflix and chill. Like, I was a little bit disappointed. I know the fans. Hey, there's people out there with me that are a little disappointed that. But Idris Elba, you're the man. No disrespect at all. Sorry.
So you've seen The Dark Tower, but you haven't seen it.
I was against it. I told you how I felt about it. I didn't like that they were...
At this point, you really can't be against it.
I know, I can't now. I can't now.
Look at
but I was against
response,
it.
Like,
I didn't like that they remade
everybody's
it. I just didn't
pretty
like
much
it.
on the same page.
I just didn't like that they remade it.
Everybody's on the same page except for you. That this is the one. People are saying this might be Stephen King's greatest adaptation.
It probably is, bro. Like, that's what I had.
That's saying a lot. That is saying a lot.
My skepticism was that it had to be.
There's Green Mile.
Yeah.
There's what's the one with Morgan Freeman? What's that?
Shawshank.
Shawshank Redemption.
Yep.
So those are 3 classic movies.
Oh yeah.
So to say that this might be the best one,
they're trying to say the new It is better than Shawshank Redemption.
People are saying this might be the best adaptation.
Whoever's saying that, stop it.
And that includes that again.
Stop it.
Again, that includes The Shining. That includes Green Mile.
Are you talking? Okay, so we're gonna take away The Shining and the over it.
So I'm just saying, at this point, the fact that they're even bold enough to say that is kind of like, you can't have any.
The only reason there's
any reservations about seeing the movie
is because of how efficient this new movie is. After the first one made such a splash, the original made a big splash.
You personally cannot have reservations about seeing this movie. At this point.
Can't. I loved it. I just didn't want to be let down. So now I know I can watch it and enjoy it, but I just didn't want to be let down. Is all.
Well, it's been out for 2 weeks, so I feel like you should watch it. Man.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out. I'm definitely gonna see it now. I just was like,
okay, folks. By next show, we're going to have a full-on spoiler episode of it.
Sounds good.
Because that's when you need to watch this by.
Oh, easy.
By the next show.
Oh yeah, I'm a binge watcher. I'll get it done.
So yeah, look forward to more It in 2019.
Yeah, looking forward to a lot in 2019.
If you guys have seen it, let us know what your thoughts about it, and if you agree with people saying it's possibly the best adaptation from Stephen King yet, or not. Let us know.
Definitely let us know. I want to know, what do you think? Is it the best? Because I haven't seen it yet. So if you've seen it, hey, rank it. Those movies we listed, tell me where it ranks in those. Because we listed about 3. So, Shawshank, Green Mile, and what was the last one?
The Shining.
Of course. Sorry. I can't forget The Shining. That shit is amazing. The Shining was dope.
But again, I don't even think The Shining should be in that conversation because The Shining isn't a true adaptation.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't get why it's in the list.
It's more of an interpretation, but people always put it in the list because it is still Stephen
King. I know, but it's a different kind of movie. Like, so I'm just like, you can't put it in the list and then say it's less than It. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, how you going? I'm like, It had its whole run already. Like, it had this impact already. It's just we're like alive to see it again.
It already had the impact when we were younger, and then like it's having an even bigger impact now, which is crazy for not only the younger crowd, but like the younger crowd who grew up and now watching it again. Right. So like that's why it's even bigger. Crazy. But anyways,
facts.
Speaking of smash hits, Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty just finished its 3rd season. I just finished watching it myself, the finale. Ooh. The finale was...
Are you going to spoil it right now?
No spoilers. No spoilers. All right. There's not much to spoil on that one anyways, but...
yeah, I know.
The finale was a bit underwhelming, but overall it was a pretty good season. Not their best season, but again, like some of the best and smartest.
What's your favorite season?
Best and smartest.
1 or 2?
I don't know. It's hard to say because, there's always season 1 and just like the impact of something so different and so like unexpected. Right. That it's hard to be like, oh, that's like, there's something better than that. But season 2 was also really, really good. They all had like their big moments. And I just don't think season 3 had as many big moments where I'm like where I think back and think like, oh my God, like that show's amazing as I do in the first 2. But people still love it because they just announced that it is the all-time highest viewed Adult Swim series ever.
Oh, wow.
And it's leading all comedies, I think all animated comedies in the age range of 18 to 45. That includes The Simpsons, that includes South Park, that includes Archer, that includes Family Guy, Bob's Burgers, like all that. It's the number 1. Wow. And it's on Adult Swim, and it doesn't even come on until like 10 p.m.
Wow.
On Sundays or Mondays or whenever. So.
And we have an opinion piece on that, right?
We do. Very good one.
Yeah, shout out to the writer who wrote it.
The smartest, Shannon Griffiths. So shout out to her. Definitely go check that out. It's a great piece. It's one of our top pieces right now, actually. Which is a sign because people love Rick and Morty, man. Like, the fact that it's the all-time highest viewed Adult Swim series and it's leading all anime comedies when it comes on at a time when most people... It comes out at, like, an odd time, like 10 p.m. on, like, Sundays or some shit like that, like,
Right, yeah, it's weird, but...
And it's still bigger than The Simpsons, The Family Guy, South Park, American Dad, like, all those shows.
Right.
So it's crazy. If you haven't seen Rick and Morty by now, like, you have to get on that train. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's an incredible show.
I'm ready.
I'm not going to say I wouldn't say it's my favorite Adult Swim show. You already know what that is. So.
Tonight.
Aqua Teen Hunger Force for life, motherfuckers. Like, ain't no show topping that shit. Meatwad, Fly Luck, like, come on, ain't nobody topping them. They had their own movie, so.
Aqua Teen Hunger Force, yo, the Colon movie. Oh my god.
Adult Swim has a lot of great memories for me, and Aqua Teen Hunger Force is fucking.
I used to have the poster. I used to have the Colon movie poster, dog.
Oh man. Some people just don't get it. Like, it's just some people just can't get it, and then some people. Like,
come on, Master Shake, with this fucking wizardry.
It's one of those shows that I can watch literally on a continuous loop. Like,
I can watch every episode right now.
Episodes, and it's still funny as fuck to me because the shit they say and do is just fucking outrageous. Right. But Rick and Morty is, it's closing the gap. It's coming up there. It might have just passed C-Lab 2020 for me and Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law. So
really?
Yeah, it might have. It might be my second favorite Adult Swim show ever.
That shit was hilarious. That was classic. I loved that so much. That was like...
I think Harvey Birdman, because it was so short-lived...
I know. I don't know why. I was like, I thought they were going to do it forever, like the old one,
Yeah, the moments they did have were so great, but it's like, I think just the shit they do on Rick and Morty, it's like some of it's kind of like mind blowing. Like, damn, right?
It's like, too witty. I thought it was smarter than I thought it was going to be.
Rick and Morty's going to be even smarter than you think it's going to be. I'm telling you. And its impact is far and wide because there's a running joke about Rick and Morty wanting to find Szechuan sauce, which is the old McDonald's sauce that
Oh.
like they discontinued. And like
Oh,
it's
wow.
like a running joke where they're like, it's the greatest sauce ever, and like blah blah blah. Like they're trying to find it. It's like the holy grail, basically.
Right.
And I guess it's been building so much steam that McDonald's is actually bringing back this Szechuan sauce on October
Oh.
7th for one day only.
For real.
And they don't directly reference Rick and Morty, but like the poster art they make for it is very Rick and Morty-ish.
Wow.
So
Oh.
its impact is far and wide, man.
Swagger jacking.
They just got McDonald's to bring back some shit that they haven't done in like fucking a decade.
Right. That's tight. That's
Super
tight.
tight.
That's the
Adult
power.
Swim's that shit.
That's power of creativity right there. Like that's.
Dan Harmon. If you don't know Dan Harmon yet,
This is
man,
the new
he's a
wave.
fucking
I haven't
comedic
seen
genius.
anything make this many waves since South Park. Shout out Colorado.
I mean, he showed glimpses of it in Community. I don't know if you ever watched Community.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the creator behind that. And then once that ended, he came up with Rick and Morty, and
I mean, Community was
like
dope.
it's
Community
fully
was dope.
realized.
Community was
Community
hilarious.
was like-
it was not. It was like. It was almost.
Community was like funny, but it was like also super smart and like its references and like
Yeah, it was like smarter
very
than The
self-aware.
Office, but it wasn't like musical like Glee so much. But they had little
super
like
quirky,
moments.
but very self-aware.
Yeah.
And like it's Rick and Morty is like that, but like times 1,000
Right.
basically. So shout out to Dan Harmon.
That's tight.
What else? Oh, I read an article the other week like talking about like made for Instagram art exhibits, and I wanted to see what you thought about those. And, like, what you think, in terms of actually artistic value that they provide. I don't know if you heard of like the Color Factory,
Sounds slightly
like-
familiar.
the Museum of Ice Cream.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
So like that's like kind of a debate I saw going on about like their actual intrinsic like art value.
Right.
Where it's like these interactive art exhibits, like super colorful and like super, just like Instagram ready, like just meant for like creating great shots for like your social media and stuff like that. And, like they're like art
Yeah.
technically, but they're interactive and stuff like that. Like at the same time, like what do you think about it?
Man, that's such a hard question to answer. Like, because there's levels. I'm not going to say everybody on Instagram's trash. There's a lot of trash stuff on Instagram, but they all follow a wave. It's kind of like the music industry where like there's like a handful of great people doing their own things, and then everybody sounds like one of them, Like that's how the Instagram style stuff seems to be. But like a lot of those people catch waves, they catch the wave, So that's what it is a lot of them trying to catch that wave too. And it's not even like to shit on it, honestly. It's really, there's a lot of people. Instagram is becoming a platform where artists can actually, find new shows and like reach a wide audience. Like I know a few artists that honestly they got hooked up with some stuff through Instagram, and like they post everything on like Twitter and Facebook as well, but like the Instagram was the plug that it connected a few things. So they hustle on Instagram harder because something happened through Instagram. So honestly,
Oh, it's a great hustle. I mean, like they like the creators, like they get all these artists to like create these exhibits and rooms for them. So it's like it's a group of artists. It's like not just one person
Right.
creating this like experience, but it's like they actually get actual artists to create these like installations, but like aren't really like
I'm not mad at
the
that.
traditional installations.
mad at it.
But and like they get great numbers. They get a ton of visitors there, and they obviously get great exposure because they're meant for like.
Well,
social
let me
media
answer that
and, like,
question
pictures
with
taken there.
experience. So I had a show this year with Black Lives Matter actually that was only online. But I created a physical object. Some of the other artists were mostly graphic designers, so they created an image for um online platforms. But I created a charcoal drawing on cardboard and photographed that for the uh project for the show. So it was like a 7 uh artist commission, and that was interesting actually. That was something I really was against at first, because when you're an artist making something for the online platform, it becomes considering the square rather than the rectangle. So to do it in a way where you because squares are, if you don't really work in squares are kind of weird to just make a new piece.
No, they're very weird because you have to crop so many images just to fit into that
right?
shit.
So
it's not natural for images.
So for me, I was trying to figure out how to do something, but honestly, the experience was cool. It was interesting watching how social media attaches to different things on the other social platforms too, through Instagram, through Twitter, and through Facebook. But with that show, it was most successful on Instagram and not Twitter or Facebook. But it was called hashtag Trayvon's mom. It was for Mother's Day. It was.
I mean, they're very visual, so Instagram's the perfect place for that.
So there's good and bad. There's a lot of things, and like I said, that's an opportunity. That came with a small little honorarium, I suppose. So,
yeah. For Museum for Ice Cream, the lady behind it, I mean, they're sold out a lot most of the time, almost every time they're open, and they sell tickets for $40 a pop, basically, and
wow.
She's kind of, I feel personally, it started out as this cool it started out as a temporary thing, and it just got so big that it became a permanent, space in San Francisco, and I think maybe one in New York. But she said that she wants to be the next Disney, and she talking about detailing her vision of
using this platform,
building out museum installations in the city blocks, blah blah blah. But in the short term, she's talking about hoping to expand the Museum of Ice Cream to 180 international destinations. And I think doing that kind of takes away from, I think it not just takes away, but I think it completely erases the artistic
at that point it's them, Thomas Kincaid, and not to know shit,
it's mass produced,
it's overly it was produced past the point of its value, so it decreased in value because there were so many replicas made, essentially.
So I think it's if she really goes this route, I think her whole argument of just artistic value is pretty much gone out the window.
That's putting up Benihanas on every corner, Starbucks or some shit. Nobody's gonna care.
I think the rarity of it and how limited it was, and how many, just only in 2 locations, I think that drives people's interest just as much. But if there's one in every city that you're in, it's you're not gonna feel that urge to oh man, I have to, I have to experience this, I have to see this,
Right.
So I don't know, I just found it really interesting, how they're trying to how art's new way of capitalizing on this social media, one of the new ways.
It's interesting. It's a weird way, but it's there.
Interactive museum installations and stuff like that.
I mean, honestly, it's a good idea. It's just.
It is, obviously, because if you're making that much money and have that many
so I mean, I can't hate on it.
Attendance is
obviously, there's parts of it I dislike. I would have to be, I'll just say it out loud. I haven't said anything negative about it out loud, but there are certain aspects that don't like, that I think are whack, but at the same time, they're probably just whack to me because it's new and not something that I would have done in the past or like would have liked. Just like the way social media works is awkward for me because of the lack of experience that the viewer gets, except for a swipe in like less than a second if your eye catches it, and actually interacts. Like if it doesn't catch your eye, then it's like continue swiping down or swiping up,
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, I just thought it was like interesting. But if you're in San Francisco or, I mean, if you're in New York,
I'm about to check it out.
In New York, I can't remember the exact city, but you should definitely go check it out. They're called like Museum of Ice Cream, and then the color or something. I just can't remember. There's something of color.
Word. I'll have to take some photos if I go to.
But yeah, you should. I mean, they're meant
obviously
for
photos. I'm gonna be like, so all right, that's some homework.
But speaking of new experiences, we were talking about Apple last show and how they kind of been lacking in terms of new exciting products and new exciting technology and just being innovators. Google just announced their new Pixel lineup, and they just announced their new Pixel 2.
It's out? Or not out yet?
They just had it's not out yet, but they just announced it and showed it to the world. They did a full-on Pixel event. So Pixel 2 is on its way. I don't know if you have seen
the Pixel
that yet,
1
but
was
you definitely
an option I thought of, but I never buy the first generation phone, so for obvious reasons, but like
yeah, I always skip the first generations anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I probably won't get this one, but just like I did at the same time, it's probably better than the phone I have now. So at the same time, it's a great phone, but I don't know.
I will say it looks better than the first one, but I don't think they took a large enough leap for me to leave my S8 or S9.
Oh yeah, that's what I want.
Be announced soon for
the S9. When the S9 drops, I'm waiting.
Pixel,
I want the S9.
But their software is incredible. Yeah, I was definitely praying at the S9, but like their software is incredible. I just don't think hardware wise it's quite there yet. But the phone was the only thing they announced. They announced like a bunch of stuff. They announced new Google Home, speakers.
Well, they're probably dope.
A bunch of them, like high class, and the most interesting thing they announced to me was these new wireless earbuds called Google Pixel. Well, they announced a Pixel Chromebook, so it's like their own Chromebook, like made from them, like laptop, but for Pixel. So like they're kind of doing what Microsoft did, where everything's like Surface branded. So now like everything's Pixel branded. But outside of that, their most interesting thing they announced was the Pixel earbuds, and what it is like just normal wireless earbuds, but like what they're saying is that it can now translate, speech.
Oh, what? Oh, I saw like a trailer or a commercial or some shit about that. I watched the video. That's amazing. That finally came out for the public. That's tight.
I mean, you still need your phone and you still need Google Translate. That's what it uses to do it, but it like translate directly to your ear. But it's kind of crazy, man. Like we're getting one step closer to like Star Trek, where you could just like have that shit in your ear, like you swallow some shit, like in any language, just automatically translated for you.
It's not going to happen until PC and Mac are compatible.
Yeah, of course, but it's coming, and it's like it's gonna fundamentally change so much. Like imagine,
well, because
like,
you can
the
cast to
barriers
everything,
of communication
but the
are
thing
gone.
is, you don't really have
Like,
to. It's all compatible through Bluetooth, all these things. So like we're already like really almost there. Like we just like there's a few things technology wise that make things smaller and faster, and we're out of here. Like
yeah, so like how you use the phone is like right now, like you speak it, you say something, and like it translates through the phone or through your earbuds through the phone to like say like Japanese, whatever, and then somebody speaks returns in Japanese and into your phone, and it gets translated directly into your ears through the earbuds. And like imagine one day like you just have like a single earbud in your ear that just translates what you say
that just sounds crazy.
directly to your phone, and then like you'd speak and people talking to you, it just picks up on those what they're saying and translate like
That's so
directly to
wild.
your ear. Like it's just
A
getting
little
close,
earbud
and
that
like
you just
just the
translating
whole,
language with, like, yeah, like
it's getting very close. I'm telling you, like it's getting very
nice.
close, and like once the whole barriers for like just communication comes down, the possibilities are like insane,
Oh yeah,
insane.
that's crazy.
So like to me, that was the most exciting thing to come from their announcement, even more than like the new Pixel phones. Just the possibilities of like that, you know. Um, but staying with technology, Nintendo just released or is going to release. I can't remember. I think just released theirs. The little mini consoles for the Super SNES.
Oh, they did. They released it.
They did.
Yep. I saw
They
a
did.
post.
And obviously selling like hotcakes.
Yeah, somebody worked there.
Of course.
Somebody worked at a store. I saw a post. They sold out in 6 hours. Sold
Yeah.
out.
It's
I
crazy.
was like, damn. What?
The nostalgia is real, man.
That's
like, I'm not
amazing.
gonna lie.
I still got
With
my
the
old
NES,
NES, bro.
They came out with the NES last year, the little mini version. I wasn't, too keen on it because I was never like I'm the SNES generation, but the SNES, man, I might have to try to get my hands on one.
It looked amazing. I wanted one too. I was looking at it like, ooh, like it made me like itch for like Mario again and all that stuff. Like that was the best Mario. Hands down, was on Super Nintendo.
I know that you can play these games right now through like emulation and stuff like that, but like just the fact that it's like on one little console like that and it's the SNES is like, yeah, I might just have to get my hands on one of those. So
yeah.
So if anybody got the plug, man, hit me up. I need one. I need one.
Hell yeah.
And last thing in tech is they have finally revealed, or Levi's finally revealed, like their smart jackets.
Oh.
It's like just their regular trucker jackets, but it's got like a smart sleeve on it.
That makes sense.
Where you can like swipe and tap on the fabric to like do things to control your smartphone.
That's crazy.
So like, the integration of technology into everything is like fully on its way.
Yeah. That's wild. Wow, we about to have smart clothes. About to have smart clothes, y'all. Smart clothes. That sounds weird. Where's my smart at? That's crazy. I like it.
It's gonna be like $400, but
that's not even a lot. That doesn't even sound that expensive for some shit like that.
It really is, because the normal jacket is like $140 typically, like somewhere around there. Like these like $4. Obviously I wouldn't be a first adopter, but it's just like cool to see these things like
MSRP. That
like
sounds
becoming reality.
A1, honestly.
This is like some science fiction shit like when we were little. That's like becoming fully realized, and like smart cars and shit like that driving. Like it's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's really just crazy. Really crazy. But yeah, that's all I have pretty much for tech.
Word.
Other than other than Stranger Things and Netflix, they just released a new free game for all phones.
Uh-oh.
You should check it out. It's actually pretty dope.
That sounds cool.
Because Stranger Things is coming out in what, like 2 weeks or something like that, season 2, which I'm fucking pumped
The
for.
Upside Down. That was a wave. The wave. Oof. That shit's gonna be tight. I can't wait for that to come back, honestly. That was one of the best shows of the year.
It was. It had its flaws, but I think overall,
Oh, definitely had its flaws, but what it did was dope.
I think overall, like, just how fucking cool it was, and like the style, and like the fact that it was like a Stephen King like movie, but like show version, basically.
Yeah.
It's like an '80s. Like it was just very fucking cool, and like I think that trumped like all its flaws, because it definitely had flaws. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I was surprised Winona Ryder was in it. I hadn't seen her in a while.
Well, that was her little resurgence, actually, because that was like her best
return
shit in like a long time.
Yeah, yeah. But I was like, she got a role where she could just be crazy. So
yeah,
I bet she came back because it looked like a challenging role, you know, and she was gonna be like. But yeah, I liked it. I mean, but she wasn't the best character, obviously.
But she was much better than I thought she was going to be, especially when she started
Way
out.
better than I thought she
was. When she
be.
first started out, I thought she was going to be just that annoying, like...
Naggy mom.
Yeah, naggy mom that, like, just won't, like, you know, won't smarten up to, like, what the fuck is actually happening. But
yeah,
that did not turn out to be the case, and I was pretty happy about that.
Right.
So... But yeah, that's coming out in 2 weeks, and until then, you know, you can check out the game that they released for iOS and Android, and it's pretty actually dope. And it's like an 80s 8-bit action adventure game. It's pretty dope.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Last thing, I just put up the post for voting for the best of the month for September. So everybody should definitely go check that post out. We'll announce the winners next week. But I think there's some good ones. There's definitely some good ones. So definitely go on there, onto the site, livingliferaiders.co, and check that out.
Yeah. Lots of stuff on livingliferaiders.co.
Amazing stuff. But some great articles.
Seriously.
Yeah, but that's all I got for the housekeeping stuff. That's all I had for topics I wanted to talk about. Is there anything else you wanted to mention?
Trying to think. No. Nothing off the top of my head. Well, actually, because just to wrap it up, I haven't mentioned this, but Kara Walker, she's one of the like major league artists out here, but she just had a show, and I'm gonna be posting probably some photos here soon this week or so, and I just got them on my computer right now, but yeah, her work, and then just there's so many things about this show that are crazy, but yeah, basically she has a solo show up, and she's always a big deal here out in New York. But I guess one more thing to wrap it up would just be once more condolences and prayers to Las Vegas.
Yep. Yeah. Crazy week, but at some point we gotta get tired of, you know, saying and talking about these events. But till then, man, thoughts out to everybody involved. But that'll do it for, you know, this week's Fearless Show podcast, October 6th, 2017. Thanks for listening. If you have any suggestions, comments, or questions about anything we talked about here or for future shows, please do that at podcast@livinglifefearless.co, or you can email us at or you can go to livinglifefearless.co/podcast and fill out the form there. And we'll try to get to the best stuff as we can. But other than that, man, thanks for listening. We'll be back shortly with another show.
Yeah. We're going to keep it coming. Thanks again, guys. Keep living life fearless.
Peace.